Are we good? All right. We're going to call to order the Town of Parker's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting at February 28th, 2023 at 4 p.m. And we just like to have everyone please turn off their electronic devices for the meeting. And we'll begin with the roll call of the board.
Chairman Marshall,
Here.
Vice Chair Hartmetz,
Here.
Member Artrup, Member May, Member Hartless,
Here.
Member LaPresti,
Here.
Member Robinson.
Here. All right, then we will begin with our call to the public hearing order with our number one docket PZ 2023-010203 for 1012 and 1016 Fiesta Avenue and 611th Street, APN numbers 307-23, 040, 041, and 042, a request for the applicants Randy and Tammy Merritt for a change in zoning from C2 Community Commercial to L1 Light Industrial Zoning District for the purpose of constructing a building for boat-related business and assembling of parts.
So I have those lots, and I'm hoping to get 100% coverage, because the more boats that we can work on, the more, income, sales tax. We get most of our fuel at Parker Oil, parts at Parker Auto Parts, and those boats are like $300,000 boats, and they won't let them sit outside. And most of it's service work that we're doing right now. So I wasn't sure if commercial or industrial mattered for coverage. I don't know that part. So I was wanting to mainly make 3 lots into 1 lot so I could put one big building on it.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Merritt?
I have a question. The 6 lots that are circled behind what is currently, or what was previously the Betty Hunter building, there are 6 lots indicated there. Which 3 are you,
So I have the 3 on
these 3?
corner of Fiesta and 11th Street.
All right.
Like, there's 3 lots, and it's got the little house on it that used to be a Greyhound
Right.
bus stop
Okay,
at one time.
all right, thanks.
Question, when you're saying boat-related business, is this storage, or you're saying you're working on them?
So right now, behind the 76 station, the RJ, my kid, and Jake, they have a boat business, and they got about 35 boats, and that's nonstop work on them. And what we're wanting to do is put about 70 boats inside, and it's not really a storage, like you put a refrigerator and close the door and leave. All these boats, they get fueled, here in the town. They'll get the ice chest filled. Those guys want their boats picked up, dropped off. We're thinking about getting kids to wash boats. That's year round. It's not just during the summertime. And the maintenance on it is year round. And like a lot of the parts, they come right here in town. So sales tax, it's not like a storage that doesn't get sales tax, nothing like that. We just have to have somewhere to put the boats, because they won't let them sit outside.
So it's just temporary storage.
Yeah, they'll be moving in and out. If you ever gone by and seen the boats nonstop going in and out, hopefully we can get 70 more of those. That's what we're wanting. It'll
So this-
generate a lot of income and more employees.
So this is something that you keep the boat for them and you maintain it regularly
Yep.
and you take it in and out but it's still primarily, you're storing it for them.
We're storing it and working. And if I can't put them in there, they'll go somewhere else, because they'll go either back to California or upriver, Havasu. So the more boats we can hold, they'll stay right here, and we'll get all that service work and even storing them, but it's not just storage.
But just a question, as part of the storage then, if you're storing them in this, like you're doing, do you pay the storage sales tax to the town of Parker that other storages pay?
I don't know anything about that. As far as I know, is you just get a tax from the county, I guess.
Property tax.
But what I'm
So-
kind of getting at is, is everything that's gonna be bought locally at all the businesses. Like most of the parts right now come from Parker Auto Parts. They got marine parts. And a lot of it comes from Davis. And then like we run ethanol-free fuel, that's all over at Parker Oil. So that'll be 70 more boats, you know, if we can get the more coverage out of it, that we'll be getting parts and fuel from right here in town,
And everything will be enclosed.
enclosed. That's the main thing is it has, you know, $300,000 boat, you better have a nice place. And with the way we have it figured, we could put 70 of those inside.
I have a question. So it's a business, is what you're saying?
Already
It's
a
a business.
business.
So it's already zoned as a C2. Why can't we do a business under a C2? Why does it have to be a LT? Can
Well,
we-
see, I didn't know that part. My main thing was I wanted to get all 3 lots into one lot. Then hopefully you guys would let me put a big building on it. And then we have a storefront right now. We have a building right behind, that big building behind 76.
Yeah, I saw it.
It's got a whole nice walk-in area with all the parts, a display. And we need a place to put more boats because the business is growing. Like a lot. We'd probably hire 2, 3 more people.
I understand all that. I'm just wondering
Yeah,
why
the
you
zoning
couldn't do it
changed.
under a C2. And
I don't know that.
somebody correct me, under a C2, the town does get revenue. Under a LT, the town does not get as much revenue. Am I correct?
Yes.
I am
you are
correct?
In the fact that, with the C2, that's commercial, so normally with commercial, you've got some kind of retail that goes on. And the tax base for retail is what the town does, basically. Usually in LI, it's for like doing the repairs or the parts or manufacturing of something, storage, all those kinds of things that are not retail, that are mostly wholesale. And so we wouldn't get any tax base off of that. So, I mean, there may be a few things that they are going to be selling that would be taxable, but services are not taxed, wholesale is not taxed, those kinds of things.
But storage is taxed.
So, yes.
They also do like UTVs and they sell their own parts, you know, also, and they have them on shelves right there, and it's business license, everything for Parker.
So then I have a question regarding that. When you're saying parts and this, that, is that actually going to go through the storefront then, not through this building?
Through the existing, but this will just add to that. So right now, the building holds like, say, 30 boats. If we can hold a whole lot more and we take them over there back and forth, that's what the plan is. And it's not a big deal to haul them back and forth. But all the work will be done in a service center.
And the service center being
Yeah, the other building.
the main building. And then here you also have assembling of parts?
So they build parts, they have a lathe, a mill, things like that, and they make stuff. They work, like if you have to make a part for a boat, they can make some things. UTVs is getting really big right now. They have a few of them over there that they're constantly working on, so we make stuff, weld, all that.
So
I mean,
will the-
it's basically an expanding business, and we're wanting to get a lot bigger.
So in that building, will you be also doing the welding and the lathe work and?
Maybe, we're gonna set it up for that. I mean, who knows where it's gonna go?
Can't stay commercial.
We have a lot of work, and not enough people right now,
I
and not
guess,
enough room.
I guess I'm still confused. Is it a business or is it not a business? It's
business.
a business,
It's
so
an
why can't they
existing
do
business.
business under commercial? I just don't understand. Because now you're saying, because they're gonna assemble and they're gonna do storage and they're gonna do this, they're not really gonna sell, so they're really not a business. So I'm confused. Are we a business or are we not a business?
So what the difference between C2, that's what the difference that you're looking for, is that our town code, if you read our town code, you can't do storage
Under commercial.
on C2.
Okay.
You have to do storage under LI, which is light industrial.
So
So
then,
then we're doing storage.
That's where I'm
So then,
confused.
That's where it comes in.
yes,
Where the zoning change comes in.
and I get that. What I don't understand, and maybe something needs to change in the way we're doing business, is if he's doing storage, in order to help our town, he should be paying the sales tax on the storage.
That's fine.
And every other one of those buildings doing that should all be doing that, and what's fair is fair.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna be straight, finance is not my
I know,
thing, and we're kind of going through some wiggles right now in our,
when they come to get their business license, that's when we
they have
have to have the
that.
TPT form.
Correct, and that's what we get from them. So past me getting that
Mm-hmm.
number from them, then it goes to finance and
Right.
I.
We just need to make sure when they're getting the business license, they're getting the
What happens after that.
TPT.
Randy, did you see this thing from Steve Ziegler? And my question is how are you going to address the parking? And there was something about the fire hydrant. Doesn't he have to address that, or I would like it to be addressed?
So there's already an offset, like at my house, if you build a fence all the way up to your property line, you still have parking.
Okay.
You know, and maybe that's part of the commercial, industrial, I don't know how the parking matters with, with that, but
I think you have to have on-site parking, not public street parking is what this code calls for.
I don't know then. A lot of these things I haven't even heard till right now.
It might be stuff you'll do developmentally as you move along, but you may need to know that you may not be able to get as big of a building as you want because you might have to comply with these parking rules.
So I'm looking for 100, but anything's better than 60 where it's at right now.
So this board is going to, when their decision is, and we kind of talked about this before, is just exactly, that is just, are we gonna rezone this piece of property? And then we have to go before the, Board of Adjustments, and you guys fill that paperwork out, and we're running that code side by side, so we'll do that meeting
it shouldn't be commercial.
right after this one.
I don't think it's
to get
necessary.
us
Okay.
to the property lines and all the.
gotta be light industrial.
Remember, we did this before, but, so these guys are just here to hear us as to what you're gonna do in the building, and what the business is, and do we need to really change it to C2? Do we need to change it to LI?
Right.
Zoning. That's their.
And hopefully 3 lots into one big lot so I can put one building
That we do
later.
totally separate.
All right.
What are the storages in our town now? What are they zoned at?
So
Because I know we have a lot of them.
we have a lot of them.
Too many, in my opinion, anyway.
I'm with her.
I want to say 2015, the council came in with a new ordinance and said that storages could only be put in industrial zone. Before that ordinance went into place, they could be in commercial, industrial, just not in residential. So we do have a lot that are in commercial right now, but those are from prior to 2015, I believe it was. Somewhere right in there.
So they're industrial is what they're,
Now,
Is what they're
be
zoned at?
storage, to use a building as a storage, they need to be in industrial.
and in order to do what he's explaining and he wants to do, he can't do that under CT. It has to be a LT or, okay.
If he wasn't doing that storage portion, he was just doing the
The-
repairs,
The business part.
business, all the selling of the parts, the manufacturing of the parts, working on the boats, if we were just doing that, it would fit right into C2. But what they do is they have to store, like you said.
It's moving a lot.
They don't want those boats outside. That's, I mean,
Well, that
I
too.
wouldn't want my,
So-
$300,000 boat.
And those are people with money that come to the town and they spend it. I think it'd be nice to have those kind of people coming here.
So is this something, say, if I was one of those people and I had that fancy boat, so you do actually keep it for me all year round? Because
All
I
year
don't
round.
have a residence big enough.
They come in during the winter time, they go on their boats. Like those guys are always coming and getting their
And
boats
then
and
are you delivering them to them?
sometimes during the summer, a lot. During the winter, not so much. They'll come pick it up, go out and drop it off.
The word would be like concierge, right? I mean, that's really what it is, a concierge. It's like a horse at a kennel. You feed it, you take care of it, you saddle it up, those guys show up and they ride
Right.
it, they leave.
Otherwise, they'll take it somewhere else out of
Absolutely,
Parker.
they will.
That's what they're doing now because there's spots that aren't open for them and we want them.
Okay. Does anyone else from the public want to speak? No? Any other questions for Mr. Merritt from the board? If not, we'll adjourn the public hearing and open the regular agenda hearing. On our docket then it would be to approve or deny the PZ 2023-010203, which is a change in zoning from C2 Community Commercial to L1 Light Industrial Zoning District for the purpose of constructing a building for boat-related business and assembling of parts. And staff report?
So this is a C2 property, right now it's vacant. There are 3 parcels that are involved. They're 150 by 50. There were 15 owners for properties within that 300 feet, 8 actual owners that were notified. It was put in the paper. All of the utility companies were sent their letter. The only ones that we got back were from APS, which said that they needed to be 10 feet from any of the power lines, and then from Public Works regarding the parking and the fire hydrant. The lots are located within the city limits, and gradually they're within the subdivision of Parker Town Site, block 153, lots 4, 5, and 6. It's surrounded mostly by C2, 3 within that 300 feet. LI, which is the light industrial, there's 2 parcels, and they're across the street, across the 11th Street, which is the college. Staff recommends that should you recommend a zone change, that you have a stipulation that the 207 waiver be signed and that the owner should be responsible for combining all 3 of those lots or parcels into one. And that they are to maintain the gutters and sidewalks and whatever else they might mess up over there. Do you have any other questions?
I'm looking for the 207 waiver, but I don't see it. I don't have it. Okay, so what does that mean?
The 207 waiver is just holding
Responsible?
them responsible should their business not succeed because of whatever reason. They can't come back and sue the town saying, we gave them this zone change and that's why their business failed. It just makes them recognize that they're asking for this. It's state statute at this point.
I guess one more question, and I'll be quiet after this. This is, you asked me to be on this board, this is what you get. So anyway,
You're fine.
so APS's comment was that all structures have to be within 10 inches or 10 feet, what was it? So is that going to be an issue with you guys?
I already talked to them and just verbally, and they said if they had to, like, they could move the lines off more from where they're at now. Like when they swing them over, keep the same pole, they could move them some.
How about the fire hydrant issue? Could that be moved too, if that needed to be?
I don't believe that the fire hydrant can be moved.
I don't either.
Curious, I didn't know.
It's in our right of way,
Yeah.
and there would be no reason for Public Works to move that.
Any other discussion or questions on the board? If not, if we don't have any other discussion, then I would entertain a motion from someone on the board, or we could have a motion and then we could have more discussion. Or if anyone had a comment they needed to make.
So basically, the way I'm understanding this, so please correct me if I'm wrong, because I am slow. The C2 isn't allowing him to be able to keep the boats in that location that he wants to work on. So light industrial allows him to store the boats there.
Yeah, that's my
That's correct.
That's
opinion of that
correct.
too, yes.
Okay.
Yep, the commercial will only allow them if it was just being worked on and
On
then
them
they
doing
were
businesses.
gone.
Okay,
So revolving.
So back in July, Mr. and Mrs. Merrick came in and we had a very long discussion about what they kind of wanted to do and what kind of road they wanted to go down. And I did give them a zoning verification compliance letter at that point for the project of detailing and repairing boats. So if you think of it that way, that commercial lot that sits on that they are wanting to put this building on can house the boat detailing and the repair without changing any kind of zoning. It's when they add the storage into it, that's where the LI has to come in.
Also, some work will get done over there. It's not like if it's
Right.
something easy. I mean, probably half the work would get done in that building, but more of the bigger stuff, taking engines out, all that stuff, boats will go over there. Detailing could be done over there in that building. Not gonna move boats just for that. So it's gonna get used for a lot of different things, not just storing a boat.
Right.
Although that will be part of it, but multi-purpose. I just don't know what it has to be labeled. It doesn't matter to me. As long as you do it.
All right.
Entertaining a motion?
Yes, we could entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the petition as written and to grant the petitioner the light industrial from commercial to light industrial zoning change.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded.
Are
I'm
we
sorry,
gonna have
Carl.
any,
Was that Carl?
Carl, mhm.
were you gonna put any stipulations on that?
Like the 207 waiver.
Yes, I'm sorry. The 207 waiver must be signed, and an APS, and obviously the town will sign off on the current position of the utilities and make any adjustments necessary to provide the right-of-way access and to provide free flow of traffic with no sidewalks or right-of-ways being changed.
Okay, Carl, you want to?
Sure. I'll
Just-
second that too.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, then all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I oppose. Sorry.
I oppose.
You're outnumbered.
I know. That's okay.
Okay.
That's the democracy we live in.
All right, then motion carries.
Actually, it's a constitutional republic, don't forget
Okay,
it.
whatever.
Time we would ask for our community development update.
Okay, so, we haven't had a meeting forever, so I'm gonna make this quick, because we have a 4:30 also. Oh, what did I do with my full thing? Well, we'll just wing it.
That's how we roll.
WAPA's getting ready to, they're staging to move the power line, the WAPA lines out in Parker South. That will be starting probably in the next, they finished all the drawings and all the plans last month. So that should be getting started probably in October, which will be great because they'll move that one power line right out of the middle of our road out there in Parker South.
Does that overjoy you?
It does. I'm so excited. We've been working a long time for this, like 15 years. They're replacing all of the power lines from upriver coming across and down. So that's a great thing. We are working on trying to get a grant for some infrastructure out in Parker South. That's been our real huge big focus right now is Parker South. We've had a few new things pop up here in town, as everybody sees, and I do have a couple more things that are in the works that I hope go. We don't know for sure, but we're close. But I haven't seen plans yet. Although I did get a new plans for Starbucks to go in Terrible's for the drive-through. So,
Another
empty
coffee
building?
shop.
The empty part of the building over there?
empty part, yes.
Really?
It's been empty for however many years. So those plans are in review right now. So yeah, there's quite a few exciting little things going on.
How's that jerky place going?
It's going, it's
Is it going to
slow.
be done pretty soon?
but
Nobody believes it's the jerky place.
Nobody believes it's the jerky.
They do sell more than jerky.
But it really is. Daniel is actually building that building and
Daniel Fernandez? is that
his contractor does not live here in town and is not from La Paz County, so it's taking a little bit longer than even he wanted it to.
So status quo then?
There you go.
And the update on that oil place over there, by where the storages are, are there going to be more storages now?
I have not gotten a
The report yet?
strong answer as to what they're going to be exactly, but we do know that they are, that oil refinery, oil, whatever it was, is definitely closed.
Oh, yay.
And they are in the cleanup phase right now. I am working with EPA to make sure that that piece of property is actually cleaned up and we don't have any brownfields in there before anything new actually gets to open. But they are in the process of cleaning that up. And
Oh. Okay, no more questions from me. I'll be quiet.
no, you won't.
This
It's all
time,
right.
then we would have call to the public, if anyone from the public wanted to address the board. Seeing nobody jumping up, then we would have a motion for adjournment.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Been seconded. All those in favor, aye.
I
Aye.
And the motion carried. Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Sorry, you put me on the board.
I'm not my board.
We're on the next one still.
What's the next one?
I'm gonna go now, teacher.
Yes, thank you.
I thought you were talking about my boss. Because we have court on him this
Oh, okay.
Gabby?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
How are you?
Sorry.
Recording's in progress. Push the button.
Yes.
I didn't get this. Or is this from your previous meeting? This is all I have
No,
for
this
today.
is what I picked up from Nora earlier in the week.
Can you microphone down, please?
That's all. Oh, usual.
Chana, are you and Carl chair, co-chair? Are you chair, co-chair still?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes, okay.
Sorry. Oh, I didn't put that in.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do that.
Said what happens when you survive this long.
Yeah, it has to be a hardship. To go through us. You know that, right?
Okay, then we're going to call to order the Town of Parker Board of Adjustment and Appeals notice, or our public hearing and our regular hearing. And we'll begin by asking everyone to please turn off their electronic devices. And we'll have roll call of the board.
Chairman Marshall,
Here.
Chair Hartmetz, Member Robinson,
Here.
Member LaPresti, Member Thorne.
Here.
And we'll have a call to the public, or call the public hearing to order on docket number BOA 23-01, 02, and 03, which is Block 153, lots 4, 5, and 6, APN numbers 311, 23, 040, 041, and 042, known as 611th Street, 1012, and 1016 Fiesta, and these properties currently zoned C2, currently changed to, applied for a change of L1, and, right? The request is for a 0 setback from the required 20-foot property line setback on 11th Street and Fiesta Avenue in order to build a 21,000 square foot building. The second request is for 93% lot coverage from the required 60%. The applicants are Randy and Tammy Merritt, are requesting the above setback reduction in lot coverage to build a 21,000 square foot building, as they feel there are no other lots larger and available in the town of Parker. And at this time, we'll have anyone from the public that would like to speak to these items. Okay.
That'd be
All-
you if you
All
want.
right. If there's no information coming from the public, we'll adjourn the public hearing and open our regular agenda items, with item 1 being the approval or denial of BOA 2301, 02, and 03, which are a 0 setback from the required 10-foot front property line setback on 11th Street and Fiesta Street in order to build a 21,000 square foot building, and 93% lot coverage from the required 60%. And at this time, I don't know if the board would want to have any discussion regarding if there's any questions amongst us, or that we may want to ask Nora. And Nora, did you have some input on that for us?
If- Just on the staff report, that, again, with the APS, and then the properties need to be married for that building to go on. We have parking issue. I'll just kind of go over with the finding words, the purpose of the, and this is still commercial, just so you guys know. This still, even though you guys just got through approving the zone change, that's a recommendation, so it's gonna go to council for that final piece. So as it stands right now, it still stands as commercial. Basically, somebody comes for a variance such as this one, it's usually, state statute says that it needs to be for a hardship, which you decide what a hardship is, I guess. State statute says that, it needs to either be not self-inflicted. In other words, not just because you want a big building or not just because you want to move over to your neighbor's thing. But we all know that we don't have a lot of property in Parker, so we keep that in mind as well. The applicant contends that the town has no other large available property in the town of Parker, and that they're asking the street setbacks will be allowed for the building envelope to cover more than the lots. Staff proposes the 10-foot setback remain on Fiesta and 11th Street, and that we at least go up to 75% of lot coverage. That way it gives them enough, it's 75% lot coverage, that gives them enough room for parking, what they need. 60% is kind of low, but you also have to account for the fact that, our lots are what our lots are, our town is what our town is, and our zoning states that it's only 60% coverage. So 2 of the lots at this point would be 100% if we go with the 96% or 93% that they're asking for. And they are on a corner, so that's another, issue.
Is the fire hydrant, is it on both sides? Is there one on Fiesta and 11th, or is it just, can you tell me where?
I think it's just on 11th,
On 11th?
I think.
And the APS loan?
I don't believe Steve told us exactly where it was at.
It's on Fiesta, right in
Yes,
front of the
yeah,
little
it is on
house
Fiesta.
that's there now,
Oh, okay.
That
So
little-
that's on 11th.
right near the alley.
Okay.
Okay.
So that is 11th then.
11th, yeah.
Okay, so about, right,
Yeah, that would be like,
because the house is here.
Yeah, if you see on the little map, that house, that little,
Where the house would be.
Are these,
Yeah.
these their lots here?
so it must be right here.
Yeah,
Just
so
these
right
three?
here.
so
where
I was
the
gonna
alley
put a
is.
map up, I should have. So these would be the 3 lots that they're looking for to do, and the fire hydrant sits about here.
Right next, yeah, I've got it.
And the college is here.
Okay.
This is their parking.
This is a college over here, so it kind of sits here on the other side of it. So the college sits here. Guess I should put it this way. Makes more sense. So the college sits here, these are their 3 lots here, and the fire hydrant sits here on Fiesta.
Right here.
And we have any other questions or discussion or points you'd like to bring up?
So
Can you pull your microphone down, please?
somebody is gonna drop off or pick up a boat. Where's this boat gonna set?
They'd fit right outside. I mean, there's enough room, but the other thing is there's always gonna be people there.
So where are they gonna park?
Back them right inside the building. Cause right,
Hi, my name is Jake Larson. I currently run J&C Storage on Geronimo. This is my father-in-law, Randy Merritt. What we would do is that building, everything would be dropped off and picked up over at 901 Geronimo. We have a gated yard for after-hours pickup. I move everything myself over to the Fiesta and 11th building, put everything inside myself, so you're not gonna be having people from California pulling up, parking all over the place over there. You're not gonna be having boats sitting outside over there. Everything would be picked up on Geronimo, moved around by pickup, and then forklift right inside. So there wouldn't be no there wouldn't be like 20 cars parking or 30 boats outside. Even when I have a customer call me and say they want to pick up, 80% of the time we hook up to it and we go deliver it to their house. So there's not a whole lot of stuff sitting outside ever. So.
Are the boats being stored with fuel in them?
90% of the time, we tell the customers to have less than 10% in their tank. It was kind of a state thing. I had a guy come from the state saying that was their kind of rule. During the wintertime, they always try and run all their fuel out because if the boat sits all winter long with a full tank of fuel, it just goes bad. So in the wintertime, they're completely empty. Some might leave some fuel in there and come back a week later. It's really hard to tell, but we always try to tell the customer not to leave their tank full. Especially, we have had an issue where when they did leave it full, that it kind of burps out and makes a mess on their cover. And we've expressed that to almost every customer, so they make sure it's not full so that that doesn't happen to their stuff.
Thank you.
And what does the town recommend, Nora?
Our recommendation was.
Or Steve's report?
Let me grab, I don't even know if I kept a copy of Steve's report. He just basically is restating the zoning code, which is for every 100 square foot of building, you need a parking spot.
A parking spot?
They need one per, is that 500 or 600? One
500.
per 500 square feet, or in this instance, for that large of a building, they were talking about 45 parking stalls,
Right. And I wouldn't necessarily,
which would be a lot for their use,
for
but
their use,
for commercial or industrial, does it matter?
it doesn't,
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
Okay, so it's the same.
And the other consideration, which, especially on the 11th Street side, in spite of the fact that we have no control over the access of the parking lot for Safeway, pretty much when that was open, and still to some extent, it's a high-speed expressway with a very narrow right-of-way as it exists right now. And any restrictions we put on there where it narrows down to where people can't park is going to create a greater hazard. And for me in particular, I walk this town every day with my dog. And to get out into traffic, to have to walk off of the sidewalk and into the street, sometimes taking your life in your own hands. Where did Chief Bailey go? I want to talk to him about that. But anyway, so that's a consideration there, as well as directly across the street on 11th Street is Arizona Western College and their community center. And prior to COVID, we started to have some pretty big events there. I think they're coming back, and the parking from AWC extends out across the street. And I think that needs to be part of our consideration as well, is whether we reduce the amount of setback and reduce the amount of available space off of the street for people to park.
Yeah, I agree that the 60% is a little out of the question, but the 75% with the recommendation seems a little more, it gives you the room for parking or even just right of way,
Yeah.
offset when you're putting right up to it.
And I think that we do need those setbacks in place on Fiesta and 11th Street. Line of sight on those corners sometimes.
And if you stick with those setbacks on 11th and Fiesta, that's going to give them pretty much
Their room for their parking.
room for their parking.
Would
That
would
would be
that
the-
be at the, would that be at the 75% number? Okay.
Did you have anything, Mark?
It sounds like that building over there is gonna be basically storage to me.
Well, it's gonna be a lot of stuff.
I tend to agree with you that that is what it is. And I am not adverse to storage, but I do think that if we are going to have storage there, that we better be getting some income to the town through their TPT tax, because everyone else is paying it. And if you're not, then shame on you. Sorry. Anybody else have anything? If not, we could entertain a motion for a recommendation to the city council.
Now, just so that you guys are aware, again, you guys are not a recommending board.
Oh, we're not.
No.
You're not.
No,
This decision is the decision that is final if the merits decide that this is unfair or they don't particularly care for this. Their next step is to go to Superior Court with it.
For a board, okay.
So,
We're not gonna do that.
So then just a question,
Enough work as it is.
because like we know, the zoning isn't changed until the council changes the zoning.
correct.
But our the variance request, if we grant that, would be good, either zoning.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
What other question? How tall is this going to be?
Probably 20, I'd have to find out from somebody that builds the buildings, but I've talked to some people, but I'm guessing 24 feet in the center. Because there won't be no post or anything in it, it'll be one freestanding building. That's what we want.
So you're talking.
So it'll probably be 16 feet on the ends,
And are we talking just a big box?
yeah? With big
Ugly.
giant roll-up doors all the way around it,
Oh.
except for the Betty Hunter side.
Wow. There,
Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done.
I agree that there is, but I also think that in our community that we should be seeing some construction with a little bit of aesthetic beauty to it. We've had a few out down there, was it Traderland? He did a nice job. We got Daniel building a building that's got a little bit of pizzazz to it, but we should not be a community of square boxes. And I don't know how we do that does our building code has some stuff on there about architectural something?
They do. It
And
does.
is that something you can enforce?
We can to a point.
Mhm.
But part of that is going to have council's approval and change. They're going to have to do some, and we are redoing our zoning codes right now, which that portion is going to be changed.
Especially when
to
we talk
fit.
11th Street, that's a main thoroughfare of our community, and people come from everywhere to come to meetings at Arizona Western College. And I think we would like them to see a more beautiful community.
It'll be a lot nicer than the way it looks now. I guarantee it. A lot better. It'll be a nice metal building, not some galvanized colored building. It'll tan, browns, all the colors. It won't just be a box. Be a nice one.
All right. Anybody else? If not, we could have a motion if someone wanted to put one forth.
I move we approve use of existing setbacks, which would give us the 75% coverage as opposed to the 90%.
I would specifically say
Yeah,
75% lot coverage maximum.
maximum, yeah.
And do we need a 207 waiver on this kind of
No.
thing, or no? Okay, all right. So is there a second on that motion? Which was basically to accept the staff recommendation.
I'll second it.
And is there any other discussion? And hearing none, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carried. And it call to the public. More public.
More public.
Do you want to, call to the public?
You know that my husband, he doesn't like things ugly. I can guarantee I live with him. He likes, when he builds his houses, he likes them really pretty on the
Oh,
outside.
I know that. I just want everyone else to know that we like a beautiful community, even though sometimes it doesn't look beautiful. So there's, with no other call to the public, then we would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved. I see Mark nodding his
I'll
head, so.
The
And
second?
seconded. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion is carried. We'll adjourn at 4:50.